Good afternoon, and welcome back to Let's Play Total War Shogun 2 Rise of the Samurai. I hope everyone had a wonderful Christmas and a happy New Year, and we'll get right back to it. So, as you can see, the province of Mikawa is under attack by the Soga forces. Now, we don't have a general here, we're simply led by a captain. As you can see, we have a reasonable force, quite a few Nagi Levy manning the walls there, and several Bow Levy garrison. But the Soga force as well is quite reasonable. Of primary concern are the two regiments of sword attendants. You'll notice that they have been built from a blacksmith province and so have a high melee attack and melee defense. So the primary purpose of this particular defense will be simply to minimize the casualties, as there is a second army from the Tatara who will also attack us this turn. So, knowing this, I want to try to minimize the casualties I take, because any weakness that if I just scrape through here, then they'll come and clean me up, and I don't really want to lose. So, right now, as you can see, they're just maneuvering for position. They're basically going to go for broke, because if you have a look, you'll notice they really don't have much in the way of archers. In fact, I believe this bow attendant unit is the only archer unit they have. So with the majority of our ranged forces deployed here, the objective will be to utilize the fact that sword attendants have relatively low armor at 4. It's not very low, but it's going to be a lot easier to put arrows in them than it is for our poor Naginata attendants to actually kill them in melee, just to try to whittle them down a bit. We really want to break their will. Oh no, they have an extra bow attendant unit over here. But as you can see, lots of arrows flowing in. Unfortunately, because our bow levy isn't led by Tomomori, they only have 15 accuracy, and this is very problematic with the amount of damage that they deal. They've only got 5 kills, 6 kills, 7 kills. I mean, we've killed basically no one at this point in time, and they're still nevertheless coming up the walls and we're forced to repel. So, ranged isn't really doing an awful lot for us at this point in time. There's a sacrificial unit over here, this bow levy garrison, and their entire job is to sit and soak arrows from these bow attendants. Now, the reason I'm using the garrison is that they will automatically replenish at the end of the fight if we win, and this unit, whose job is solely to take arrows, is going to take a fairly large number of casualties. So we want to minimize the casualties we take on units that we actually have to replenish. So as we can see, the sword attendants have come up and are doing their thing. They've been banzai'd, which you'll notice increases their charge bonus and their melee attack to a whopping 17. And they're doing pretty decent damage to our guys, which is definitely problematic. But they are slowly losing troops as well, but really not anywhere near as fast as I would like. In fact, things are looking a little bit problematic over here. They're getting a quite decent foothold on this southern wall, and I really should be deploying more troops, but they're all bunched up here, and there's just not all that much we can do except hope that we win through sheer numbers, which we should. I mean, we've got reserves, and our reserves have reserves, and those reserves have reserves. But nevertheless, we need some form of extra punch. Now, these levy have taken moderate casualties. They lose about 5 to 10 men climbing up the walls, and that seems to be pretty much independent of size, since the more elite units tend to have heavier armor, and heavier armor units fall off the walls more often than lower armor counterparts. So it tends to balance out the numbers versus the armor. But just sheer numbers, being sheer outnumbered, has broken these sword attendants, and you can see them flat out the gate. Now I'm just going to try to catch them at the gate here so we can slaughter them as they're running away, since I really don't want those to reform, which would be very problematic. So it looks like we've broken the first wave of their attack, which is always helpful. Moderate casualties though. We've basically had a couple of levy units mulched in exchange for breaking the attack, but I think that's an acceptable compromise at this point in time. Their bow attendants, not really heavily damaged. These guys, bit over half strength, and I'm a bit over half strength as well, so even with the benefit of the walls, the fact these bow levy are just so lousy has meant that these guys are doing pretty well. Main concern is bodyguard here. Just going to sit there and shoot me, because general bodyguards, and there's 2 of them, have such a high accuracy and large amount of armor as well as reload skill means they just pick men off the walls like the walls weren't even there. And this is true of all elite archer units. Once your accuracy gets above 60 to 70, the shots tend to be so accurate that it doesn't really matter if the enemy's in any sort of cover, the shot tends to land regardless, which is, you know, problematic if you've got crappy guys on the walls like these bow levy who are just getting shot up. I mean, I've killed 9 of these General's Bodyguard and 1 of these, but we're just not really doing too much. Now, their second wave has tried to climb up the walls, but it's just routed on climbing up the walls again, and they'll likely shatter, so it looks like there's no melee troops left to give us any trouble. With no melee troops left to give us any trouble, and significant numbers of levy, we are going to charge forth, sally forth from the castle, and we are going to kill these generals' bodyguards in the hope that that will force these bow attendants over here to shatter with their general dead. So they can either keep shooting at us or come and fight or run away. I mean, if they were sensible, they'd withdraw. They can't really take the castle at this point in time, but why not? Now we've killed their general. As you can see, the little bubble is gone, and that's probably this over here. You can see that shattered the bow levy, the bow attendant, and his general unit shattered, and everyone's shattered now. So we've successfully held the castle against the Soga. Now we just have to fight the Tatara. Thank you for watching, everyone, and I hope you enjoyed it.